everybody. Hey, everybody. Good morning. Please take a seat, everybody. This is a great day for the state of Maryland. But it's not lost on me, and I know it's not lost on anybody here, that today's triumph was born out of tragedy. That just shy of 1 year ago, on March 26th, I got a call in the middle of the night, and I learned that the dolly had slammed into the Key Bridge and brought it down. In response to this horrible tragedy, that first morning, we laid out 4 key objectives. The first, we would locate all of the victims and provide comfort and closure to their families. The second, we would clear the channel and fully reopen the Port of Baltimore to vessel traffic. The third, we would support everyone who was affected by this collapse, from the dock workers to our small businesses. And the fourth, we would rebuild the Francis Scott Key Bridge. We tackled the first 3 directives faster than anyone anticipated. For Directive 1, we recovered all 6 victims and brought comfort and closure to their families, and I want the entire state to know that we still continue to stand with those families and be with those families, and I want all of the families to know that the entire state continues to stand with you. Están en nuestros corazones, nuestros pensamientos y nuestras oraciones. Directive 2. While many said it would take 11 months to reopen the Port of Baltimore, this team got it done in 11 weeks. We had an extraordinary unified command that worked day and night to get that channel cleared, and to see so many members of that unified command, from the Coast Guard to the U.S. Navy, Coast Guard, U.S. Navy SUPSOL, from the Army Corps of Engineers, to our local leadership, Mr. Mayor, and our local county and our county executives, to all of our federal partners, to our MDTA, our MDOT, our MSP, everybody who was involved in this work. This was the gold standard of what unified command could and should look like. Directive 3. We passed bipartisan legislation with the Maryland General Assembly to support our workers and keep Marylanders on the job. And I want to give a shout out to the members of the Maryland General Assembly who got it done within days on a bipartisan basis to be able to make sure that funding was there. Thank you, sir. And after completing those 3 directives, we set our focus on number 4, rebuilding the Francis Scott Key Bridge. And this directive is not about nostalgia. This directive is about necessity. Because you cannot have a fully functioning Port of Baltimore, the gateway to America, without the Key Bridge. And we wanted to make sure that people understood that this was one of the core arteries that was necessary to make sure that the Port of Baltimore could continue to do all the work that it could do on behalf of not just the people of Maryland, but the people of this country. And when it came to making sure that we would rebuild the Francis Scott Key Bridge, we made sure to tackle this directive just like we tackled the other 3 directives. Together, arm in arm, that we were going to be mission first and people always. And over the last several months, we have spoken with, and I know I've spoken personally with over 160 members of Congress on this issue, explaining to them the importance, walking them through the details. They were able to work in partnership with our Attorney General, and our Attorney General, Anthony Brown, who recently filed suit against the Dolly's owners and managers to ensure that Marylanders will not shoulder the cost of rebuilding this bridge. That a broad bipartisan coalition assembled in both chambers to get the necessary support from leadership to assist with the financing of the key bridge had to move, and it had to move expeditiously. And the people of Maryland are grateful that Congress has stepped up strongly in helping to support this effort. And we would not be here if it were not for some of the best partners that I could ever ask for. Partners like our Lieutenant Governor, Aruna Miller. Partners like our Transportation Secretary, Paul Wiedefeld. Partners like our extraordinary federal delegation. I know we have one of them here, the remarkable new Congresswoman Sarah Elfrith, and we're so happy to have you here. Thank you for all your leadership. And I know there's a few members who I also want to give a special personal shout out to include Congressman Nfume. I know this is his district, and I know he wanted to be here, but was called out in Washington. And also two people who we would not be here if it were not for the work of Senator Chris Van Hollen and Senator Ben Cardin. It took a big team to get to this moment. It took a unified team to get to this moment. And this moment is a really big deal. And now, we are grateful to unveil the design for the new Francis Scott Key Bridge. This proposal honors the architectural tradition of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. The original bridge was built using the most advanced industry standard and best materials available at the time. Our new bridge will also be constructed in accordance with the most advanced industrial standards and also the very best in infrastructure design. We are going to use the best materials available, and we are going to employ many Marylanders to get it done. This is a really big deal. And this is a moment that I know for so many of us, we've been waiting a long time for today. And the people in this room and the people who this room represents, we're here because of you. We're here because you never stop pushing. We're here because you never stop believing that we would look up and one day again soon see the Francis Scott Key Bridge. We are going to continue to work together to cement Baltimore as a maritime hub for the East Coast and a maritime hub for this nation. And this year, our administration has proposed new funding for a transformative project at Trade Point Atlantic. It is going to increase the Port of Baltimore's container capacity by 70%. It will create more than 8,000 jobs, and it will generate more than $1 billion in private investments. Maryland is the bridge between America and the rest of the world. This will be the place that the country will remember not just what resilience looks like, but what economic growth looks like. Because we get cars from Michigan out to market. We bring sugars and spices to Louisiana. We haul farm equipment from the East Coast deep into the farmland. Commerce and trade are the bedrock of our state. And we will continue to make investments that honor our tradition. So we still have work to do. But this is an incredibly important step forward. And I know that the people with us today will gather, and will gather soon, to celebrate the reopening of the Francis Scott Key Bridge. May God continue to watch over the victims of the collapse. May God continue to watch over their families. May God continue to watch over this journey. May God continue to watch over our great state. Today, your hard work paid off. Congratulations, Maryland. I am now honored to turn the microphone over to my partner in the work, our state's Lieutenant Governor, Aruna Miller.